Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. So in today's webinar, we will introduce one of our new functions in PEAKS 11. We call it new PEAKS PTM. So we will start from a brief introduction to the new PEAKS PTM workflow. And then we start from a case study. It's from a recently paper to argue the argument on whether there is a conflict PTM. Then we will introduce some new functions which I love it very much. We call it quality related attributes filter to help you to find if this is a content or it's not a content PTM. And finally, we will show two demo projects to show how do we use the new PEAKS PTM to find the potential signature ion and use the potential signature ion to find more PSMs. Okay, let's get started. So the first here, I want to briefly introduce the PEAKS PTM search. So now for the PEAKS PTM search, it's an option in our traditional PEAKS DB search. You can see here in our traditional PEAKS DB search, we start from the de novo, and then we do the DB search. And now after the DB search, we have a new option here. It's the PTM search. It helps you to make sure if the PTM is competent or not competent, or we can use the risk scoring to help you find more PTMs with the signature ion. So two things in here. First thing is that now it's applied for the DBA data, and then it will be officially released after the ASMS. So if you are interested, maybe you can come to our booth during the ASMS. Then let's start from the PTM. So I think everyone is very familiar with this. So the PTM is the post-translational modification. But why we want to investigate the PTM? So the first thing we know that the PTM is on the proteins, especially the protein PTM. They modulate the protein functions and abilities and some regular process. Here. And then how many PTMs here? Now in the Uniport, if you search in the Uniport, so there are, I think there are over 600 of PTMs listed in the Uniport. And also in the Uniport, now if we count all the human proteins, if we count both the colonic protein and the non-colonic proteins, you can see here. A lot of the proteins contain the PTMs. So if we count the number, we have the phosphorylation, glycosylation, or acetylation, or the ubiquitin, something like this one. So that's the reason why we want to investigate the PTMs. And then let's start from a case study. This is a paper published in the last year. Yes, claim that they found the ubiquitin-based pathway in a plant. But in this year, there is another paper that say, no, this is not right. The PTM is not here. So why the latest paper claim that? So we have investigating here. So the first thing is that in the MS spectra, when we say that there is a PTM here, we say there is a delta mass, or we call it mass shift, we use this value to determine the PTMs. So for this case, there is something that we think this is the ubiquitination. So in this formula, it's in the lysines here. In the lysines, there are two lysines here. So we have one mass shift in the 114. But we know that during the general proteomics experiment, we will always do the alkylation to broken the disulfide bond in the proteins. And if usually we just think that in the cysteines, when we broken the cysteine bond here, we have a delta mass of 5,7 here. That is from the, this is the region from the region to across IAA. So the mass shift is 57 here. But if we consider more that, is there a possibility that the articulation have something like called over-articulation? That means in here or in the system, or not only the system, but also the license or N terminal and C terminal. You add 2 IAA here, then you will find that since the mass of 2 IAA is 57 and double, then it's the same, exactly the same to the 114 here. So this is the why the people argue that maybe a lot of the PTMs are not the ubiquitination here. So then the question is that, given our data, could we find some evidence to see if in this data is just the articulation or over-articulation, or it's the ubiquitous? And then see if we find that, okay, there are the evidence to show that in this peptide there is the ubiquitination, and then we are the site. So to answer the first questions, in PTM, in PEAKS, we have a function in our PTM, PEAKS PTM, we have a function that you can search all built-in modifications. Here, when we say all built-in modifications, that means the modifications in the uniport. We download the most common PTMs in the uniport to help you to see if there is some unwanted modifications in the data set. So after this search, we found that besides the normal conversion materialization here, is in the system here, we find a very close number here. That means a lot of the PSMs also have the carbon method here. Yes, it's not in the system, but also in the other uncommon amino acid here. So this is one indicator. And also, we can also find here, we have the dicarbamide method here. So that means you can see here, the mass here is totally the same. We say if we have distributed here. So that's why the reason that also argue that you need to check your data more carefully. Okay, so when we answer the first question, then it's the next question. Where is the site here? So in the paper, there's the example still from this paper. So there also things that this is a confident PTM, that this is a confident PTM as an example. But why we say this PSM is a confident PTM? So the thing is that we know that the PTM side is K5 here, is the fifth reference in the sequence. So to support this idea or support this PSM, we need the support ions. So what's the support ions? That means we've matched the ions from B5 to B7. That means our PTM is covered by this support ion, and for this support ion is in a row. That means if here is K5, then we find 5, 6, 7, or sometimes we can find from 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it's better. So this is the basic idea when we say, okay, I have a PTMs and I have support ion. That means the support ion must cover the PTM side, and the support ion must be in a row, and at least three support ions in a row. Then we can say, okay, this is a confident PTM. So still based from this paper, then the author give us some recommendation to say how we can say this is a confident PTM. So the first thing that is just we said, the PTM should be covered by the confident support ions. And the second thing is that given our software, it should give a confident static score. So based on this site score, I can find that what's the probability or how confident I can say there is a PTM in this site. And the other thing is that make sure there are no unexpected PTMs, especially some unwanted PTMs is occur during the sample preparation, just like we see these examples. Maybe a lot of the 114 the shift is from the overactivation. So so for the PTM, then there's the basic idea. How can I find or how can I say this is a confident PTM? Okay, so then we'll introduce the functions of our new PEAKS PTM search. So just like what have said that our PEAKS PTM is an accurate and sensitivity workflow for finding confident PTMs. How can we say it's accurate and sensitive? The first thing is that to make sure the accuracy, we optimize our algorithm to find a confident PTM. In here, when we say there is a confident PTM usually contain two things. The one is that we say the peptide sequence is right. The second thing is that the site of the PTM is right. And then we have multiple filters, what we call the quality related attributes filters. You can use these filters to filter your result to get to keep the result is accurate. And then how can we say it's sensitive? In here, in this new PEAKS PTM, we have a function that we can, for the first step, we can help you to find the potential signature items in your data set. And then we can, based on this signature item, we can restore. After this restore, we can get two things. One thing is that we can get more accurate results, since now your PTM is supported not only by the supporter item, but also by the signature item. And then since there is a restore, so we can find more PTMs, more PTM based on your result. And then finally, we have a new view here. We offer you a comparative views to between you can compare the modified peptides and unmodified peptides. Of course, you should find them first. So how can we use the PEAKS PTM search? Now we know that now PTM search is an option after the DB search. So after the DB search, maybe we can have some different situations. So the first thing is that could we find the normal PTMs? So here is our new functions in the future. This will coming soon. We call it PEAKS PTM open search. It will help you to find the novel PTMs. And then, is there any unexpected PTMs in your result? So to answer these questions, you can search. You can use the PEAKS PTM search to search or build in the common union mode PTMs. Then for the target PTMs, how could we say it's confident? So to answer these questions, we can search the PEAKS PTMs with our different filters to make sure the PTM is confident. And then if we want the signature or we want new support elements, we can search the PEAKS PTM search with focusing without the signature element. Then we can find the potential items. And the last, we can include the signature element to do the restore to help us to find more PTMs. Okay, then we can introduce more details here. So the first thing is that we always emphasize that it is we are this is a confident PTM. But how confident of our PTM or for the administrator, we should say that how confident of these PSMs. So here we divide it into 3 levels. So the first level is that we have the confident PTM sequence. So usually this is we can access it by the search score. So for the PEAKS, we usually have the PEAKS score. So the PEAKS score will tell that if this PSM is right. So if PSM is right, we say that okay, this sequence is right. And then in the second level is the site. How could we say this site is right? So in the PEAKS PTM research now, when we say if this is a confident PTM, especially when there is a site, so it should have 2 stands here. The first thing is that if you can find the peptide tag here, in here peptide tag we call that we use the length of the peptide tag. That means you find the support ion which cover the PTM site, and this support ion, the length is at least 3 amino acid, 3 amino acid. And the second thing is that for these support ions, their ion intensities. So by default, we will use the first here. For each support ion, their relative intensity must higher or equal to 2%. So if we see this PSM, take this PSM as an example, we know that the phosphorylation here in T. So it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8 is T8 here. So usually when we say a PSM, we want to say, okay, if you say here it's a phosphorylation, show me the support ions. So usually we'll come from the B ion first, from B2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But here we didn't find the B7, so we can count from the Y ion here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can say, oh, sure, of course, here we can find from Y1, 2, 7. They are exactly the same for the modified and unmodified one. And the interesting is here, when we found the Y8 here, we found that the modified one Y8 and the unmodified Y8, they are shaped here. They are shaped start from the Y8. So from the Y8, 9, 10 until the circuit, we can find that all of them they have a shift. So that's the reason why we say okay, the phosphorylation is here. And for the phosphorylation, there is another indicator that we find that for the modified PSM, all the ion here have a nature loss here. So this is also the evidence support us to say, okay, this is a phosphorylation inside within the Y8 ion. So just like here. So based on these 3 support ions, we can say that since what increases the Y is the Y8 from C terminal, so it's this T9 with from the N terminal. So based on this evidence, we can say okay, this is a confident PTM site, confident PTM, both of its sequence and its site. Then in the third level, we can say that we want to say if we can find the signature ion. So one thing we want to mention here, not all the PTMs they have the signature ions. I think only part of them they will have the signature ion, or in some other papers they will call something like the diagnosis ion or something like that. So this is the level 3. So in level 3, if we want to tell the software if you can find the signature ion, then show me and risk score. So based on this risk score, we can find more confident and find more for PTMs here. So in these examples, there is a second demo project we will show later. So in this PTM is the ADP ribosylized. So here they have some signature ion here. Then in the new PEAKS PTM, besides the label, usually we will label the B ion, Y ion, or C ion with different colors. And here we will use the green color to label the signature ion. And so the next question is that for the signature ion, how can we definite whether there is a signature ion? So usually the basic idea we use it here. We will say if this ion rests in we will focus on the difference. That means in this figure, in the left is the PSM with the PTM that contain the signature ion, and in the green that means the PTM without the PSM without the PTM, then they contain signature ion. So if the difference is high enough, then we say this is a signature ion. Then we will show more details in the later. Okay, and then the next question is that with the signature ion, how could we find more? Could we find more PSMs or PTMs based on the signature ions? So here, this is the example we use in the demo project. You can see that if we restore with the signature ion, we can find 38 more PSMs compared with without the signature ions. So why we can find more? You can see here, in this figure here, the blue dot that is the PEAKS score without the signature ion, and the orange one is the PEAKS score with the signature ion with the risk score. So the difference is here. Before, if you search without the signature ion, all these peptides, their PEAKS score is lower than 1% DR cutoff. So that's why we cannot find them since they are below the threshold for the 1% DR. And then after the risk score, based on the risk score, so this score for this PSM, they changed. So now they are higher than the 1% FDR cutoff. So that's why we can recover them. So this is the basic idea for the risk score with the signature ion. We risk score the PSMs. If you find the signature ion, then you can have some bonus score, and then we can risk score based on this one, to get the final score to find more PSMs. And okay, and the next step is that you find the result, and all the results are filtered. Then tell me the result, which one is confident and which one is not confident. So in the new PEAKS PTM result view, so this is usually the peptide view in the PEAKS. Now we have a new function here to help you to see clearly which is the confident and which one is not confident. So in the peptide field here, now we have some options here. The first thing that we can select here, that means the peptides must contain the confident PTM. And then for the PTMs, you must have the signature ion here. So in the final result, for each peptide or for each PTM here, we will use the color to show that if it's a green, that means this PTM, this side is a confident side. If this is red, then this is not confident red. It's a not confident PTM. So it's easier for the user to see which side is confident and which side is not confident. And then to help the user more easily to see the difference, we offer the comparative views in the PTM search. In here, if we find we call it the paired match, that means we find both the modified one and unmodified peptides. And then if you click here, you can see the report here. In the top is the modified PSM. In the bottom is the unmodified PSM. So if we use this view, it's very clear to see that where the difference, where the site of the difference from. So just like the case we show in the phosphorylation, if we can locate the size of where of the PTM site, then we can say that we can find that where the difference is from. Then we can say that okay, this is a competent PTM and the site is competent. And another thing is that since now the deep learning technology is more and more used in the data analysis. Okay, so here you can also see the RT shape here. So when we want to mention here, in here the RT shape is just the difference between the modified one and the unmodified one, not in the PTB search or other result or other peptide result view. The RT shape means the predict one and the method one. So we can also see here for the PTMs, if the PTMs have the large RT shape, then it's also indicated that okay, this is a confident PTM. So this is the new column or the new views in the PEAKS PTM search. And the other thing that usually in the old PEAKS explorers, we have a very welcome the functions we call the PTM profiling. That means given a PTM, given a amino acid, could you show me the relative area or the change from across all the samples? So now this function is back to the PEAKS 11. In here, for one protein and one site here, if you click the button here, for one protein in protein level, for each proteins, for each site here, we can show you the relative area or the peptide areas across all the samples. So in here, you can say for this site, we have different samples. So in different samples, the area for this PSM is different, so there is a change. So it's easier for you to see this trend or see this difference across the sample. Okay, then let's summarize to see the workflow here. So just like we mentioned before, for the PEAKS PTM now it's an option in our PEAKS DB search, after DB search. So it's the normal DB search. Then if you will have an option here, click here, you can find unspecific PTMs with the PEAKS PTM. So here you have two options. The one option is you can click here to search all building modifications. So just like we mentioned before, is if you want to find unwanted modifications, especially from some preparation, you can click here. And then you can also just search the list of the PTM. That means I don't want more. I just want to make sure these PTMs are competent. So the other new thing is that we always say it's the confident PTM, but how could we definition is the confident? So in here, we offer two options. The first thing that you can definition how confident, just like we said before. We have two. We can use the peptide tag length and the peptide tag ion templates. We want to mention here, if you are familiar with all the PEAKS Explore, so at that time we use all. So that means you can use all the peptide tag or use the ion template. Now the relation is end. That means we want to be more confident. So now the standard is that you must have, for a confident PTM, it must have the tag, the peptide tag, and have the ion template. And then you can also definition the potential signature ion. While we need this page, we can see the example of the data. So before we go to demo project, then we can give some summary here, basic simple summary here. So for the PEAKS PTM search, what can I get from the PEAKS PTM search? So after the DB search, I finish the PEAKS PTM search, then I get the PTMs. So the basic thing is that we want to get the confident PTMs. So for the confident, there are 3 levels. The first thing is that the sequence is confident. The second level is the site is confident. And the third level is that we have the signature ion to support this confident the PTM. Of course, this is the third level is optional. And then we combine this result. We can say that, okay, we get the confident PTM. And then, based on confident PTMs, we can do PTM profiling on the protein level. You can see that for one protein, for each site, what's the change or where the variance across all the samples. Okay, so that's the new functions in the PEAKS PTM. So let's go through the demo project first, then we will go to the software live demo. So we prepared 2 demo projects here. The first project is a simple one. It's from Nature Method paper last year. It's the author is from the Chinese pharmaceutical university. It's also this user have the requirements to us to see if we can help them give more user-friendly tools to find the PTMs. So for this paper, the PTM we searched in the lecture agent. It's a new PTM to find the volunteers. So we do some research for these PTMs. So it's the first report in the 2019, and then in this year you can see here, start from the 2021s, the paper or the research become more and more hot. So that's why they also want to focus on these PTM to see if this is a widespread PTMs that's in the human proteins. So the example here will take up one data. So when I get the data, the first thing is that I want to search to see we can find how many PSMs. But the interesting thing is that at first I found nothing. Why? Since I searched in the Unimode, looks like in the Unimode website, now there are no this PTM is not listed or not registered in the Unimode. So that's why I say I searched again and again, but where are this PTM? So since this PTM is not in the Unimode list, so it's also not in our PEAKS PTM the UB list. So the first thing is that if the PTM is not in the list, we need to customize or we need to create our new PTM. So in the PEAKS 11, like before, you can customize your PTM. So you can just go to tools and modifications. You can create a new PTM by yourself. So in here, so the difference is here. In before, you just put the name, you just put the mass and put the size, and then things, the peptides and or proteins. Now there are a new function here. You can add the signature ion here. If for this PTM, you have some signature ions you can input here. And then now assume that okay, I got the data, but I don't know if there is a signature ion here. So in the PEAKS PTM, when you can click this one to find the specific PTM with the PEAKS PTM, and you click here, want to find the potential signature ion here. Then click this one to try to find the signature ion. And then the question, there's one question here. At the first time when I searched this data set, I found that the PEAKS only report one signature ion here. So the mass is 156. But when I read the paper, in the paper it reports two. One is this one, okay, we find that it's 156. But the other one, 173, we didn't find it. Where are the ions? So I searched the paper. So I searched the paper here. We can find that in the report paper, we can find that for the other one, the difference between the modified and unmodified one is not very large. It's not very large as the left one, that's the 156. So that's why. Then this is the reason why we give the user access to modify these parameters. That means you can definition your own signature ions based on this difference. So then I modify these values here. Since we by default we say if there is a signature ion here, you must the difference between these two is larger than 30%. And you can here in the final result find that the difference is lower than 30%. That's the reason why in the first search or in the pre-test I didn't find this signature ion. So when I modify these values, then I can find both of the signature ion here. Okay, then the second question is that now I know the signature ions. If we can find more PSMs based on these signature ions. So one thing mentioned here, since this is a demo project, so we just use one data here. So that means it's just only one raw data we searched. So you can see here, now there are two signature ions. So with the risk score based on the signature ions, we can find more PSMs contain these two signature ions. And but the thing is just in that when we combine the result, we can find one more PSMs. But since this is just one data, so we just want to show the function of the PEAKS PTM to how to find the signature ions. So if we want to see more data, then we prepare the second demo project. It's a demo project. We search for the ADP, the PTM calls the ADP. So the reason why we select this data set because for these PTMs it have more signature ions and we can see more clearly the function of the risk score. So based on this paper, we download all the data, use the AI ETD to see if we can find the more PSMs with the ADP. So the raw data was processed in the PEAKS 11. PEAKS 11 use the PEAKS-DB into the PTM search. Since the demo project contained 40 raw data, so we used our PEAKS Online to handle it. Since our PEAKS Online is designed for the large data set, and we searched in two modes with the signature ion and without the signature ion and with the signature ion. So the first thing that we can more about the signature ions. So for this PTM, based on the published paper, we know that there are a lot of the potential signature ions here. If the PTM fragment in the different bond here, then you can get different signature ions. So the first thing we want to make sure that if we use our functions, could we find all these signature ions correctly? So that's the first how we test. So we search, we use the mode without the signature ion. So in here, we didn't include the signature ions. So in the other method, I search the PTM with the signature ions. So the first thing that then we use our PEAKS PTM workflows is the same. the first thing that this is the normal DB search parameters. Is usually is as our normal common search workflow. You input all the things here, and then here is the new PEAKS PTM search. You click these options and select the first thing that to select all the built-in modifications. And here you want the software to find the potential signature ions. And all results are controlled by the FDR. We put it 1% FDR here to controlling the peptide level. And for the results, in now the PEAKS PTM search in the result will have its own result node. So like other node, it will have several pages here. So the most important here is in the summary page and the peptide page. So in the summary page, the most UI is the same, like the same with our DB search. So the uniqueness here, in the table you will find a table called signature ion detect. So in this mode, I search it without the signature ion. So here we will tell you that these are the potential signature ions. So for these signature ions, its name is something like it starts from the name of the PTM, and after the hyphen, then it's the MOV of these signature ions. So you can find these signature ions, and then below this table, we will show you the figure. And you can see that. You can see clearly. You can see the difference between the signature, between these signature with or without the signature in the figures. So in here, since for the demo use, so I adjust some parameters. So the difference is small. So you can see here the difference between these two is just 4%. So it's just for the demo use. And then if you search with the signature ion, so and you can also get the same table here, but then at that mode, then this ion is not the potential. We call it is expect here. Then you can see since we input the name for the signature ions, we will summarize all the PSMs contain these signature ions. So in the final result, when we compare there is the original paper and then there is the latest paper process the same data set with the other software. And here we process with the PEAKS 11 with the new PTM search. So we together two modes. In this mode, we search without the signature ion. And in this mode, we search with the signature ions. So we can find more numbers than other softwares with the signature ions. And in the result, then we can show some example of why we say this is a confident ones. And the same, you can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4 here. So since this data is from the ARETD, so we treat it as the ETHCD. So we can find both C ion and V ion here, and also we can find the Y ion here. So the first thing is that we find that this is 4. So we can find we count as the V ion here. We found the shift, and then we also report the signature ion here. So we say, okay, this is a constant PSM. And this is another example that in this example we find 2 signature ion here, and also we find the other thing the same. We find the mass shift from the site. Okay, then we can go to the software demo. Okay, so the first thing we will show here, basically to show here is in our PEAKS studio, in the studio search, since this is only one sample. So this is the first time I search with no signature ion here. So here the same with the normal PEAKS DB search. You can see all the results here. So the new thing is here, you will find the table tell you that how many signature ion you have found here. So you can find the signature ion name with their MOV and then PSM with the modifications. So this is the first case I show that I only find one. And then after I modify the parameters, you can see that I can find both of the signature ions. And finally, we can search with the signature ions and get the final result. So this is from the studio, PEAKS studio. So for the processing, the same. We can see here. This is the same UI with the PEAKS DB search. And you see here, we will have a new PEAKS PTM search here. We just click here. You can use this PEAKS PTM and you can search in the list modification or building modification. And then you click the find the potential signature and then click submit. You can finish the search. And then let's go to the online. Then for the PEAKS online, the basic is the same. You can just here. It's the same. You can just use the same workflow to do the PEAKS PTM search, and this is our final result. You can see if we search without signature ions, we can find this potential signature ion here. And then if you search with the signature ions, you can find more PSMs than search without the signature ions. Okay, then let's come back to the so I think the take home message here for the PEAKS PTM search, we will give you 3 levels of confidence. You will find the confident PTM and then confident site. And if possible, there will be the signature ions. And based on 3 of these levels, you can get the confident PTM. And for the confident PTMs, then you can do the PTM profiling on the protein levels to see this difference. And finally, yes, just like Zach mentioned, we will have our ASMS user meeting and boost in our ASMS. So if you want to find more upgrades, please contact with us. Okay, then that's all. And we can answer some questions now.
Yes, thank you, Ching. It was a great introduction to the new PEAKS PTM that will be released soon.